Do you see that I literally just did my hands for Tinkerbell? Wow, this is the Tinkerbell magic shop. Hey y'all, my name is Bronwyn and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one that has been very highly requested and it is all about being a PhotoPass photographer. I was a PhotoPass photographer for my first college program, so I was there from May 2017 until January of 2018 and I was in Magic Kingdom. I already know that this video is going to be very long, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Just a disclaimer for this whole video, I'm gonna be specifically talking about Magic Kingdom. I actually never worked in any of the other parks, although it is a global role and you can work anywhere. I just loved Magic Kingdom and stayed there. So things might be done a little bit different in each of the parks, so I'm speaking specifically to Magic Kingdom. So if you get to your job and they do something a little different there, I'm sorry. My phone interview for my Disney college program really wasn't super heavily based around PhotoPass questions. That was one of my top choices, and I think the only things that she actually asked me were what would I say to a guest that didn't want to get a picture taken, and she asked if I had any camera experience. I am a photography major at school, so that kind of answered the question for her. But yeah, those were really the only two PhotoPass questions that I was asked. Something else that I think is a preconceived notion of being a PhotoPass photographer is that you have to have photography experience. That is definitely not true. The role itself is pretty small. I know for my arrival day there was 10 of us. We all trained together. 9 of us were at Magic Kingdom and 1 of us was at Hollywood Studios. Out of all of us, I would say about half of us had previous photo experience and the other half really hadn't done anything other than like take a couple pictures on their phone. I obviously cannot speak for the recruiters and what they're looking for, but I think it's much more about personality and how they think that you're going to approach the job rather than if you are a successful photographer already or not. To my knowledge, the only location that you can be in as a college program participant for PhotoPass is in a park, so Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, or Epcot. I know some of the people that were Spring Advantage, I would assume that this also applied to just the spring, I don't know for sure though, had the option to get trained to work at the water parks also, so Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. As a Fall Advantage participant, I did not get that option because the water parks close pretty early into the season. There is a chance that you can get water parks trained, but that wouldn't be your home location. As far as I know, ESPN and Disney Springs, although they have PhotoPass photographers, you won't get those locations as a college program person. So there are 2 costumes that you can wear as a PhotoPass photographer. There's the global costume and there's the Main Street costume. The only cast members that wear the Main Street costume, as you can probably guess, are the ones that are working on Main Street. Every other PhotoPass photographer in any park, anywhere else in the Magic Kingdom, at ESPN and Disney Springs, is going to wear the global costume. I'm going to go through both of the costumes and I'm basically just going to go bottom up, so bear with me. As far as costumes go, actually for both costumes, everything that you wear is provided by Disney Costuming except for your shoes. PhotoPass photographers wear white tennis shoes and the only requirement for them is that they are white. They don't have to be a certain brand, they don't have to have a certain look to them, they just have to be all white. As far as logos go, as long as the logo is the same color as the shoe, it's not an issue. I know a lot of people had Nike ones and it had like the swoosh on it, but as long as it's not outlined in a different color or anything, like it's all white, they're totally fine. For the Main Street costume, you'll have white knee-high socks provided by Costuming. You'll have white knickers, a white belt, a blue and white striped shirt, which comes in short sleeve and long sleeve. You have a bow tie, which is actually optional during the summer months because it's hot. There's also hats that you can wear. There's 2 different options and those are both optional. You don't have to wear them. For the global costume, you'll wear your same white tennis shoes. You'll need to wear white ankle socks, which you have to provide yourself also. I guess I didn't say that. Main Street, they'll give you socks. Everything else, buy your own socks. They have navy shorts or pants, depending on the weather, or if you have tattoos, there is a pants option for that. A white button-down shirt that only comes in short sleeves, but you can from Costuming and just you can buy your own. A white long sleeve shirt to wear under it. You can also do that for Main Street if they happen to be out of long sleeve shirts because there's like 10 of them, it's fine. Then over your white shirt you have a khaki vest that you wear that says PhotoPass on it. So the training for PhotoPass is pretty extensive. I had 4 days of training before I was actually out shooting on my own. I never had any training at Disney University or in business casual. It was all on the job training for the most part. My first 2 days of training were down in Celebration, Florida. That's where the DPI headquarters base is. So we would go there. They kind of went over everything, how you need to shoot, how to set up your camera, how to do all of that kind of stuff, how to troubleshoot things. And then later in that day, we would go to Hollywood Studios and take pictures of each other. So just within our training group, we took pictures of one another. We didn't take any pictures of guests. For day 3 and 4 training, I was training at Magic Kingdom because that was my home park. And we learned all about specifically how things are done in Magic Kingdom, how to go to base and get your camera, how to set up your camera just to make sure everything, you know how to do that, how to shoot certain icons, all that kind of stuff. Those were the first 2 days that we actually spent time shooting guests. We were still in smaller groups with one of our trainers, and they basically were making sure that we were doing everything right, but we were shooting guests at that point. For the first 2 weeks of my program, I only worked mornings until I got night trained. I actually got night and view trained at the same time, but now they've split it up into 2 separate days. The night training is basically to learn what the different camera settings are at night and how to use the tripods. Your view training is a bit more complex and takes a little bit more time. In each of the 4 parks and in Disney Springs, there are areas where guests can go and look at their photos, they can purchase them, they can get them printed, they can buy Memory Maker, all of that kind of stuff, and we're the ones that do that. Guests also come to the view a lot if they are having trouble with any of their photos. So say they met Rapunzel at 2:15 and now it's 10 o'clock at night and their pictures still haven't shown up. We have a way that we can look in the system and help the guests find those pictures. It's also if they, for some reason, their Magic Band didn't get scanned, or they had some issue with, oh, mom's Magic Band got scanned and we're not connected, so she didn't get them. We have the ability to make sure everybody gets their pictures and everything is where it should be. I know at least for Magic Kingdom, we also had a view assist who would help with the line and see if there was anything that they could just go ahead and answer rather than having to come to one of us, because there was normally about 6 or 7 of us in the view working. It was also if we were having any trouble, say we couldn't find somebody's photos or we couldn't figure out why something wasn't working right, or we had any trouble with our screens and that kind of stuff, the view assist was able to help us, and they just know a bit more than we do. There is a guest support number that either the guest can call or we can call if we know that it's something that somebody higher up than us just needs to hit a button and everything will work like we need it to. So there is that option if you're freaking out that nothing's going the way you need it to. Another week or 2 after I had my night and view training, I got character trained. The character training is actually a lot of fun. There's about 5 people in my group and we got to go to Epcot, and you go into a room, you learn how to take pictures of characters. You have a different photo flow for characters than you do for icon photography. So you go all over that, and then you go out, you shoot some characters, you go review your photos, you go shoot some more characters, review your photos. Congratulations, you're character trained. From start to finish, my training took about a month. I obviously was still shooting in that month, but I had my earning my ears tag on up until I got character trained, which I think mine was around June 24th, and my move-in date was May 22nd, so about a month. I normally averaged around 40 hours per week. There were some weeks where it was closer to 30. There was some weeks where it was over 50. But I normally was scheduled only around 40. I normally would trade for more or less hours. As a CP, you can't give away shifts unless you get a leader's approval, but you can trade shifts between other cast members. There's shift exchange pages that once you start your training, you'll get access to those. I always also got 2 days off. My days off were Tuesday and Wednesday, and that stayed consistent throughout my entire program. I could trade to have a different day off, or, you know, if somebody really needed Wednesday off and I had it off, I could trade with, you know, another day that they had that they could give me, but I was always scheduled Tuesday and Wednesday off. Magic Kingdom is a bit more complex when it comes to shifts than a lot of the parks because I don't know if it's the biggest, maybe. I don't know, I feel like it has the most locations though. So when I would get my schedule every week, it would tell me what time my shift was and what deployment that I was going to be in that day. So there were 6 different deployments that I would get scheduled. They were Main Street, which obviously was Main Street, East, which is Tomorrowland and Fantasyland, West, which is Adventureland and Frontierland, North, which is New Fantasyland and the Circus, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, which is obviously Princess Fairy Tale Hall, or Float. For a float shift, it basically meant you didn't know where you were going to be that day. You would bring your Main Street costume and the global costume, and you would come to work. You would call deployment and say, hi, where do you need me today? And they would figure out where they needed you, and you would put on the costume that they needed you for. There are other deployments in Magic Kingdom, but those are all specialty trained locations, which the likelihood of a CP getting trained for a specialty location is very, very slim. I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen, but there's a lot of full-time people that aren't even trained for specialty locations, so you're probably not gonna get one as a CP. I had great leaders at Magic Kingdom. I cannot say enough good thing about my leaders and my coordinators. I never had any issues with any of them. They were all so supportive, so willing to help with anything. I love them, I miss them. I also had a lot of leaders and coordinators that trusted me, so I actually did get to work a couple of the specialty locations. I was never trained for them, but there's a couple times where somebody was at Be Our Guest with the Beast and needed a break and there was nobody to fill it. So they basically said, who's working today? Looked at the sheet, saw my name and said, I think Bronwyn could do it. And so I got to go and work with the Beast, which is something that's really cool because technically I'm not supposed to do that. CPs do, for the most part, primarily work nights. I would get a couple random morning shifts every now and then, but for the most part I worked nights, which was really cool that I got to work all of the parties, and it made it a lot more fun when I would go to the parties because I kind of knew what was worth it, what to expect, how things went. It wasn't like my first time ever going to one of the parties. I had been to all of them. I'm just gonna talk about a typical shift on Main Street because I worked Main Street a lot and it's just too hard to kind of talk about every single deployment, so we're just gonna base this off of Main Street right now. So a typical Main Street shift for me would start around 3 o'clock and would go until about 1 a.m. I'd come into work and go to base and get my camera, and then I would walk all the way to Main Street, which is on the total other end of where I was. And from there, I would use CDS, which is the CAS deployment system, and I would click Get Assignment and it would tell me where to go. Most of the time it would be to bump somebody either to their next location or to their break. So it'd say something like, Bronwyn, please pick up MS Bakery, which meant that I was across from the bakery shooting the castle, and it would send whoever was then at bakery either to their break or to a different location. It's a very self-sufficient role, although you do have leaders, coordinators, and support come and check on you every little while to make sure that you don't need water, you don't need batteries, or you're not having any issues. You are allowed to step off if need be. If you need to go to the bathroom, if you need to refill up your water bottle, if you are having some sort of camera issue, you can go and take care of those things. Obviously, if you have a line, don't just drop your line and leave unless you're having some sort of like equipment problem and it's not working. Obviously, you would have to cut your line and, you know, explain to them what the issue is, send them to a different photographer, that kind of thing. But if you have a line, don't just say, oh, sorry, y'all, I gotta go fill up my water bottle, bye. It's really just, if you're standing there, you're not taking anybody's picture, and you notice that, oh, my water bottle is empty, you can go and take care of that. I know also for me, if I noticed that somebody in front of me or behind me had a line and had been out, you know, kind of a while also, I would ask them before I left, like, hey, I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle, do you need me to fill up yours? So that way, if they weren't gonna have a break anytime soon, to be able to go and do that because they were in a super busy spot, I could kind of help and take care of that. One of my favorite things about PhotoPass is that it doesn't matter who you are, if you are a CP, if you're part-time or full-time, once you are in your certain deployment, everybody is on the same playing field. What I mean by that, for the most part, it doesn't matter who else is there. If whoever is the photographer with Tinkerbell, it's time for their break. If you are the person that picks up the next spot, you get to go and work with Tinkerbell. It doesn't matter that somebody that's been here for 15 years is sweating their butt off at entrance. You still get to go and work with Tinkerbell. Another thing that I absolutely loved about being a photographer is that you get tons of guest interaction. If somebody is lost or somebody is confused, PhotoPass photographers are normally the first people that they see because we're just kind of standing in the middle of everything. I know working on Main Street, I would get asked anything from where's the bathroom, how do I get to Splash Mountain, what time is this parade, what time are the fireworks, can I stand here for the fireworks? You get asked a lot. I would definitely recommend spending a bit of time in your home park, definitely at the beginning of your program, just to get a feel of where everything is, what time stuff is, so that you can be the most helpful to guests that you can be. You also are able to make tons of magic in this role. You don't have a set number of photos that you need to take during the day. We don't work on commission or anything, so you basically just kind of get to do whatever you want. You do in your training go over a photo flow, which is a list of photos that you should be taking with every family, but if you want to do more, you are more than welcome to. I got to shoot all kinds of stuff, from proposals to baby announcements to name reveals, gender reveals, all that kind of stuff. It's really fun not only to capture those moments, but to make it a special moment for them also, especially with proposals. Sometimes they would tell you beforehand, other times you're just taking the picture and the next thing you know, somebody's on the ground proposing. But it was really fun because a lot of the time they just expect, you know, you're gonna take the picture of the proposal and we're gonna go on our way. So especially if I didn't have a line or if there's only 1 or 2 families behind me, I would make it a special moment for them and, you know, take them over to the side and take a couple more pictures of them after they were engaged, so that way they could have more than just like the actual proposal. They can have have some really nice of the aftermath photos as well. It was also fun to play with different family dynamics because a lot of people come with big groups of people, so making sure everybody feels special. There are tons of different magic shots that you can do. People love magic shots. They literally will come to you and ask you which ones you have because they want all of them. Getting to feed off of different families and their personalities and doing pictures that are centered around them makes your day way more fun. If you're just taking the same exact pictures for every single family, your day is gonna go by really slow. But if you really take your time with each family and make a special moment for them rather than just like click, click, bye, have a great day, then they're gonna remember that and they're gonna want to get more pictures with PhotoPass photographers. And guess what? That means you get to keep your job. Guests really appreciate when you take more than just the 3 pictures that they're expecting, and do take the time to make it a special moment for them, whether that's with magic shots or, you know, pairing off different members of a family or a friend group and just giving them a fun time. I feel like I've rambled on and on and on, and I don't know if any of this video even is cohesive and makes sense, but I hope that this video helped you guys some. And if you have any other PhotoPass questions, I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. You can either leave a comment below and I'll see it, or shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll respond to it. Just know that if you were chosen as a PhotoPass photographer, you are going to have the best time of your life. Thanks so much for watching this video, y'all, and I'll see you again real soon.